Okay, welcome to our viewers. Thank you for joining us for a webinar today, How AUCloud Succeeds in Cloud Storage Services. Joining us today are Peter Zafiris, Senior Infrastructure Engineer at AUCloud, and Sanjay Jagad, Senior Director of Products and Solutions at Cloudian. Welcome, Peter and Sanjay.
Welcome. We are super excited, as I mentioned, and we'll start talking. Here is the agenda for us today. We'll talk a little bit about the market opportunity, the boom that we are seeing in the cloud storage services, and what that means, right? What that means from a service options. And we'll go into a little bit details about what AUCloud is and what they offer, and then we'll close it up with what Cloudian brings to the solution, and then we'll open up for our questions. So let's get started, jump straight into it, right? So the first thing first is, I think people all over the world are pretty much in unison and alignment that the market for storage is changing dynamically, right? And if you look at it, what that means is the amount of data, the unstructured data that is growing is phenomenal. It's at an exponential rate. And what that means is that traditional storage solutions, be it your SAN or NAS, are not good enough, right? You need solutions that bring the cloud technology to the enterprise as well as the service providers. And if you look at the trend, when you're talking about this much amount of storage or data that is generated, the market for storage is related for those particular storage services is also growing exponentially. If you look at it, this is the fastest storage growth segment when it comes to the entire storage industry. Right? It's grown 33% annually, and there are industry pundits who have said that by 2021 this will be like a $45 billion business. This is itself pointing to the fact that there are needs for those cloud-related services that needs to be brought to the common people. Peter, from AUCloud, how do you see this translating into what you are trying to get done?
So this is exactly what we're seeing in the market today. The requests that we get on a daily basis is for object storage. So exactly what you said there hits the nail on the head, mate.
Absolutely. And when you look at cloud, right, people always have this presumption cloud is public cloud, and this is what needs to change, right? When you talk about cloud and when you talk about these opportunity that this particular growing segment brings, enterprises as well as a lot of other customers are not only just adopting cloud from a storage perspective, but there are also newer services that has been created or used. Like, this brings in a newer cloud workloads, right? This cloud growth has created multiple opportunities, right? The results, like, if you look at it, the traditional on-prem non-cloud storage, if you look at it, what it is today to where things need to be is shrinking. But what is growing is the ability for people to take advantage of these cloud resources, be it public, be it private, and to create value-added services. What this means is to our friends like AUCloud and all the service providers is there is markets. There are market segment opportunities where public cloud is not the ideal scenario. And how do you take advantage of this transition or this industry trend towards cloud services and bringing them back so that you can serve the needs of the local enterprises, be it because of security, be it regards to compliance, be it for any other aspects of it, right? It's a breadth of different requirements that create this opportunity, and that's what this today's talk is all about. How do we capitalize on these things? Having said that, what this translates into a service provider's business challenge and what they need to do to capitalize on this, right? It's very simple. The need is to drive business success with very differentiated services that can be built on a platform that can scale like a cloud, can be managed like a cloud, can also help meet with different regulatory and security requirements, but most importantly can also deliver on the ecosystems around applications or new cloud application that needs to be built on those infrastructure items. Peter, any thoughts around this item, around challenges and how you plan to go about? We'll definitely talk about it, but anything you want to capture out here?
Yeah, so, I guess that's one of the ideal things with Cloudian. It enables us to offer highly automatable solutions for customer applications and so on. So, yeah, definitely really excited about the opportunities that Cloudian provides for us.
And I think you mentioned a great point, right? Automation, and I think that's what jumps into it. So when you look at what needs to be done and what is the expected things that you need from a platform to build those services, there are two things that come to mind. One is the APIs and the standardization on those APIs. If you look at in our market today, S3 APIs have become the de facto standard when it comes to any cloud storage related aspect of it, right? It is the fundamental APIs that are being used in cloud, also in any of the on-prem object storage solutions, right? It's become ubiquitous. S3 APIs refer indirectly to cloud APIs, and that is not enough, right? When you talk about that is representation of the data APIs, but there is a lot more that goes along with it. And things like, your control APIs. Can I do multi-tenancy on a cloud platform? Can I build automation on top of it? Does it have enough APIs for me to do integrated billing and quality of service? S3 APIs along with those control APIs is exactly what is needed from a service provider's perspective so that they can leverage this platform to build and create differentiated services. The other aspect that goes along with S3 APIs is the fundamental platform on which the cloud infrastructure is built. This is where you want to operate the entire infrastructure as a cloud infrastructure, right? You want to be able to orchestrate applications. You want to be able to automate applications. You want to be able to fulfill different requirements, be it performance or capacity. And what better than having the premier cloud stack in terms of VMware vCloud Director, right? This is really very important, and this is something that we want to focus on because Cloudian just recently became the latest addition to the VMware vCloud Director. We are the first and the only object storage solution that is available and fully integrated with vCloud Director, just like a vSAN. So if you are a vCloud Director user and are using that as your platform for cloud-related automation and provisioning and operations, and now you have the ability to now use Cloudian through VCD by a solution that was jointly engineered between Cloudian and VMware, so that you can now cater to different cloud storage workloads that we talked about earlier. Right? This is a fully integrated solution that is managed through VCD and has all the API integration that allows you to do a self-service tenant portal, very similar to the workflows that our service providers and our tenants and our customers are used to when it comes to vSAN or any other storage offering within vCloud Director. And that's what we're going to talk about. So let's jump straight into what AUCloud is planning to do and their platform and their services. So Peter, with that, why don't you talk a little bit about what AUCloud offers and your platforms and what you are offering?
Thanks, Sanjay. So I guess who is AUCloud? So we are a wholly Australian-owned sovereign cloud infrastructure as a service provider. We focus our service offerings exclusively on Australian government, including federal, state and local government agencies and organisations and critical national industry providers, in areas including health, finance, utilities and communications. These organisations have both high data needs and high security requirements. At a high level, Australian government security classifications range from official to top secret, and AUCloud, we deal in the lower two classifications of official and protected. To meet the different types of data and security needs of these organisations, we provide two separate cloud environments, one for the official data and one for the protected data. And both of these sovereign cloud environments, Sanjay, have been engineered to protected, meaning that we have designed these environments to ensure we meet or exceed the protected controls as outlined by the Australian Signals Directorate. So Sanjay, a few distinguishing features I'd like to point out. Firstly, we are a community cloud focused on government and critical national industry. However, not all government and C&I industry customers can join AUCloud without acceptance of AUCloud's Community Rules Information Security Policy, or as we call it, the CRISP. So all AUCloud partners and customers must comply with the CRISP. The CRISP dictates the behaviours and the practices of the cloud community, and it sets out, it defines our responsibility as well as the responsibility of our partners and customers to eliminate any operational or process weakness. Users cannot be serviced if they don't explicitly agree to the CRISP. This delivers both superior security controls and individual partners and customers, as well as the highest level of integrity of all our cloud environments. So we are, like I said, an Australian sovereign cloud. All data will never leave Australian shores, and all staff that access AUCloud infrastructure are Australian government security cleared to at least the level of NV1. Now, over 80% of Australian federal government customers use VMware as a virtualisation platform. So we've done our research here, and it's no coincidence that we have chosen VMware as the first infrastructure as a service stack to be deployed by AUCloud. With that, I'd also like to point out that we are a VMware Cloud Verified Partner, one of approximately 40 organisations worldwide with this stamp of approval from VMware. And earlier this year, we were officially recognised as a Cisco Master Service Provider. What this means, Sanjay, is that we are recognised for our technology skills and demonstrated success in supporting and delivering high-risk, complex technology projects, specifically in infrastructure as a service. Just move to the next slide. Thanks, Sanjay.
Yeah, so I think, but you mentioned what is I want to just highlight a couple of things, right? You know, you mentioned how the AUCloud's focus is around security, and I think that's something that people need to realize, right? You know, you have partnered with the best, as you can see here, from the VMware vCloud verified service offerings, as well as Cisco, and the focus and the attention towards security. And this is where the partnership with Cloudian really benefits, because we do have our similar beliefs. So great transition into the next slide, Peter.
Definitely, thanks, Sanjay. So, in addition to infrastructure as a service, we offer both disaster recovery as a service and backup as a service. In terms of our partnership with Cloudian, AUCloud's specific requirement was to build our own secure object storage solution to service our government customers and critical national industry organisations. Cloudian was the only vendor with a true native S3 solution that has been proven, I guess, to the exabyte scale. Cloudian also allows us to offer cost-effective storage, backup and archive as a service solutions, and allows us to be cost competitive with our hyperscaler competitors. Cloudian enables us to offer unique solutions to our partner community as well. An example that I have here is the Cinetas SureDrop solution. SureDrop is a high assurance file sharing solution that provides a secure low-cost method of transferring files between government agencies. This software can be installed on laptops and mobile devices as well. So this offering has been built on obviously vCloud Director, but the Cloudian object storage underpins the data there. Thanks, Sanjay. As you can see in this high-level design, we leverage our strong alliance with Cisco and VMware to provide Cloudian S3 object storage to our government and critical national industry customers. The use of Cisco UCS S3260 storage service not only provides AUCloud with centralised management and automation of the physical hardware, but also provides a performant and redundant infrastructure for the Cloudian Hyperstore software as well. So further to this, the integration between VMware vCloud Director and Cloudian through the object storage extension appliance released by VMware allows our customers to access the object storage through one seamless and streamlined interface that is vCloud Director.
Absolutely. And Peter, I do want to highlight one more thing out here, if you don't mind, is the fact that, Cloudian is also a Cisco partner, and having Cisco validated designs to go along with this means that the customers can now benefit from not only just the VMware VCD integration, but also having a platform that is proven and certified from a Cisco perspective, right? So together the full stack provides complete value that is very much validated by the industry, and is something that has proven to deliver quality products and services that our customers can benefit from. So it's a great story to have and see the synergies of our partnership and how that can benefit what AUCloud is trying to get done within their infrastructure.
So this slide, I guess, depicts at a high level AUCloud service offerings and the capability offered to our customers. So the entire environment is front-ended by AUCloud's internally developed automation, orchestration and management portal. The portal, which is built with containerization and based on microservices architecture, allows our customers two methods to access their cloud tenancy. Customers can either interface with the virtual estate via the web interface, or can deploy infrastructure as code via AUCloud's API gateway. So the portal also gives our customers the ability to log support cases, administer user accounts with granular control, view and electronically sign the Community Rules Information Security Policy, and access detailed billing and contact information. So through the AUCloud portal, customers can access VMware vCloud Director, and through the integrated VCD plugins available, customers can access our integrated self-service management portals for backup, DR and object storage solutions. So Sanjay, those self-service portals and those integrations, I believe is a great benefit for our customers there.
Absolutely, and I think that simplifies the initial discussion that we had around why customers are moving towards cloud-based services, because cloud not only just offers them the ability to get into the different model from an OpEx perspective versus CapEx, but it also the value of having the portal where they can completely do self-service automation and self-service management of it, right? And with your particular architecture that we are showing right now, you basically not only meet those requirements, but also provide them quality and other services that meets their SLAs and requirements around performance, backup, and so on. So great story to talk about in terms of the APIs and the ecosystem, right? I noticed that, AUCloud out here talks about having pure storage arrays. So that's another story that goes often untalked about or unnoticed, is that the relationships that we have with all of those providers, not only Cisco, VMware, but even including Pure. Right, this is completely validated solutions where snapshots can be moved from Pure to Cloudian or any other backup applications to leverage like Veeam to move data or backup data from Pure. So this is a complete story about how the ecosystem play both on S3 APIs and Cloudian leverages the cloud-like services model, and how AUCloud, with their expertise around offering a unique customer experience along with the highest level of securities, brings total complete value to our customers who are looking to leverage and capitalize on those opportunities.
Exactly right, Sanjay. So, like you said, from what you see there, all these vendors that we select is by design. It's not by accident that we choose and make sure that all these vendors play well, nice together, and we can offer a unified sort of secure solution for our customers. So S3 storage, as we all know, has become the de facto object storage standard. And Cloudian Hyperstore is already recognised as the most compliant object storage solution. In our opinion, Cloudian Hyperstore is the best object storage solution on the market, and this is highlighted by the myriad of vendors looking to support Cloudian S3 storage as part of their solutions. The Cloudian provides scalable, geo-distributed, reliable, secure and cost-effective storage for a growing number of applications. And this is particularly important given the markets we are focused on. The fact that Cloudian object storage solution is common criteria and FIPS 2 compliant is integral to maintaining AUCloud security posture. With any technology solution integrated into AUCloud, security is a paramount consideration. As mentioned earlier, AUCloud's IaaS business is powered by Cisco UCS compute infrastructure. So as you mentioned earlier, Sanjay, the Cisco reference architecture is industry leading, with UCS storage service providing a highly available, highly durable and performant infrastructure for the Cloudian Hyperstore solution. This allows for centralised and consistent management across the AUCloud infrastructure fleet. And of course, this solution has to be tightly coupled with VMware vCloud Director to ensure integration and to ensure the integration and to prove the validity of the service, AUCloud actually participated in the first global beta trial with VMware and Cloudian to build out this solution that we have today. So we've intentionally architected and built our service offerings to meet the specific needs of our customers, who we know have high data protection needs and deal in large volumes of data. Leveraging our technology partners, including Cloudian, we can now deliver a highly scalable, highly secure and importantly cost-effective solution for customers.
So that's a great story, Vol. So why don't you talk a little bit about your future plans, right? That is something that we are doing, but this is just a start, right? There's a lot more in the pipeline when it comes to this partnership and what you plan to offer.
Thanks, Sanjay. So our focus is on orchestration and automation. So the future for us is about enabling infrastructure as code. We currently have a channel partner with advanced development capability looking to implement infrastructure as code for a health service provider that they're currently supporting. So this is one example, but we're expecting more of our partners and customers to move in this direction as their cloud maturity grows. So for our larger customers, we will leverage Pure Storage's Cloud Snap integration that you mentioned earlier as well with Cloudian to send array-based snapshots directly to the Cloudian object storage as a means for fast backup, archive and disaster recovery for our customers. We're also currently working with a national research organisation to deliver a large-scale data lake to meet the customer's specific performance and cybersecurity requirements. In the short to medium term, we expect use cases such as this to be an increasing area of growth, with Cloudian Hyperstore providing the underlying data storage tier. And finally, we're about to expand our footprint into a second and geographically separated data centre, as well as geo-resilience and the ability to deliver the high availability for our customers. It signals our physical expansion into other regions within Australia.
Great. Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of it, right? To be able to seamlessly scale, integrate, continue to provide other value-added services. People don't realize, right? When you have this much amount of data, it is imperent, right? That data has now become the lifeline, and analytics and be able to move this data is not easy. So once you have this data, how can you build other value-added services? And this is where Cloudian comes into the picture, right? As you can see out here, what I have is we are right now the most widely deployed independent object storage solution out there in the market, right? We offer, as Peter was saying earlier, right? Offer the highest S3 compatibility. And S3 compatibility is not just about, as I was talking about, supporting the basic S3 APIs, but to be able to keep up with the advancements that Amazon is making on these S3 APIs, so that in turn can be then translated into other value-added services that AUCloud and other service providers can offer on top of Cloudian. Right? It's a continuous evolution. It's a continuous cycle of not only just supporting the APIs, but also keeping up with newer APIs that are released by Amazon at the earliest possible. That's one aspect, and as we talked about, there is other aspect is what Cloudian brings is the richest feature set when it comes to service providers. We'll go into this a little bit detail, it's all about multi-tenancy, it's about security, it's about ability to seamlessly scale, but also be able to be deployed across multiple sites. Right? It is something that now, if you look at some industry analysts and see the Gartner Peer Insights, Cloudian has the highest rated in terms of the quality of the product, the ability to not only support the APIs, but to deliver on the feature sets. These are something that the Cloudian customers have provided their insights, and this is what makes Cloudian very special. Talking about object storage, I think I do also want to highlight this thing, right? Object storage has been in the industry for quite some time. But why is it that we are seeing this so much traction? We talked about the need around the growth of unstructured data and the need around having storage solutions that meet those requirements. But it also have a lot of these big hyperscalers and other customers have used object storage. It has become the de facto solution when it comes to large amount of unstructured data that people can then use, and then that ecosystem with S3 APIs that people can leverage to deliver value-added insights as well as services on top of it. Object storage has now been prime time, and we're seeing these things as Cloudian continues to grow in terms of the amount of customers and the deployments that we see on a quarter basis or on a yearly basis. The quick gist in terms of summary of what we just talked about with Peter and what Peter highlighted when they talked about why they chose Cloudian. It goes down to very simple things, right? As I was talking about, and I want to keep insisting on this, is the most complete set of MSP feature sets, right? When I talk about MSP feature sets, it's very simple. You need to be able to have basic things like multi-tenancy. Once you're building a platform or picking a platform like Cloudian to to offer services on top of it. This is something that you will have to make sure that it supports multiple tenants, right? Just so that you can get better TCO out of it, right? When we support multiple tenants, it's about not just ability to have those tenants, but to offer security from a network down to the storage in terms of making sure that the data is segregated, the access to those data is segregated. You have detailed analytics on top of on a per tenant basis, or within the tenant, how much storage is being used by whom and where, logs to go along with it, compliance to go along with it. Solution, as Peter was talking about, Cloudian is FIPS and CC certified. We also have VERM compliance certification that is required for different verticals, be it healthcare, financials, or even regulatory compliance, right? Immutability is becoming one of the key factors when you are looking for protecting against ransomware, GDPR, and so on and so forth. So all those things really, really make a difference. And that's what is needed when you want to be the de facto platform of choice for providing cloud services to the customer within a service provider's environment. The S3 APIs, as I've been saying this again and again, is a given. But what comes along with it is the ecosystem of all S3 API apps. These are the thousands of apps that Amazon supports, or that vendors that support S3 APIs. But it also is about all the different integration work that Cloudian has done to validate those solutions, be it Cisco, be it Pure, be it Veeam, be it Rubrik, and so forth, to provide that fully integrated, tested solution that our service providers can use confidently and be able to build services on top of it. Right? You have the flexibility in terms of deployment, around whether it's configured and deployed as a hardware platform or as a software platform. And lastly, but not most important piece, is that this has to be proven and very widely accepted by the customers, as you can see by the industry analyst and the insights that we have on Gartner. This is what makes Cloudian special. This is what differentiates Cloudian, and that's something that we need to make sure that people this is clearly understood.
I think you hit the nail on the head there, Sanjay, and these features are exactly the reason why we chose to partner with Cloudian.
Yeah, and talking about use cases, right? There is a question that just popped up. We typically answer the questions, but you basically just fits into my next slide. The services are plenty, right? But some of the most standard ones that we see is, first thing first is, Peter, is just plain S3 storage as a service, right? So if I'm a customer, I'm trying to build an app. I want to build something that leverages the newer cloud apps and leverages the cloud APIs. I know that I can now work and develop and support those apps with confidence, knowing that the underlying storage, even though this is not Amazon, will support all the S3 API calls, right? So that is a given. What this brings is completely transparency when it comes to be able to take your cloud apps that you can build against Amazon, but when it comes to actual deployment, you can now deploy them on-prem on a service provider's platform. This is what AUCloud is looking for, right? How can I support all those cloud ecosystems and be able to still leverage the S3 APIs so that we can capitalize on those things. The backup as a service is another common use cases. Like, how do I fit into the existing backup application workflows from a customer's perspective, but still be able to now meet my objectives around I have a mandate to leverage cloud, or I have a mandate to consolidate my data centers, or I have a mandate to move to eliminate my private data centers and then leverage the service providers for better OpEx. Right, Cloudian seamlessly integrates with most of the leading backup applications, and this means that this now can fit seamlessly into your existing workflow. So if you're a customer and you're using Veeam and you're backing up today, you can simply point them to a Cloudian Cloudian endpoint within AUCloud from a tenant perspective, and then be able to seamlessly continue your same workflows and meet your SLAs as well as RTOs and RPO objectives, while achieving significant TCO value in terms of reduction of cost, be it on your own data center cost or real estate cost, and even better predictability in terms of how you want to operationalize those environments. Compliance is another use case, Peter, and this is something that you are focusing on, is the ability to meet compliance and regulatory and sovereignty requirements of making sure that the data stays within the Australian continent, as well as meets the requirements from immutability perspective. Do you want to chime in on that, Peter?
Sure, Sanjay. Yeah, you're exactly right. So our government customers, are very heavily regulated. So compliance as a service and features such as WORM are highly sought after by our customers.
Exactly, and then there are the classic things around having cold archives being parked and for long terms, right? If I have a requirement to leave this data for like 5 years, 10 years, or I want to archive it, you still get the value which is cheaper than the tape, but you can still access that data and be able to retrieve that data in the way that bringing archive as a service. And like I mentioned earlier, if your mandates are to consolidate your data centers or consolidate your DR site or leverage a service provider's environment for your DR capabilities, you now have an ability to take advantage of Cloudian from a storage perspective, but also the integration of Cloudian with someone like Pure and others, where you can now recover and restore those data back into Pure from a snapshot and be able to have AUCloud's services on top of VMware VCD to not only just have a DR for your storage, but or your applications, and that gives you control on how you manage your DR environment.
Yeah, I think I was going to add to that point for archive as storage. Something that we're seeing more and more of is the fact that with archive as a service and Cloudian, storage is always on and always available for customers, so they can access, run analytics on this data. This data is, not cold data. They don't have to restore it back into their environments, such as, as I guess one of the drawbacks for tape environment. So this is, archive as a service is another sort of big key feature for us as well.
Exactly. And so with the other services, when it comes to big data as a service, right? Once you have the data lake, Cloudian fully integrates with Splunk, integrates with other Elastic Stack, so that you can now take advantage of those things and offer them as a big data as a service offering. Our integration with even Hadoop, right? For that matter, with S3 APIs allows you to now take advantage of the metadata-rich object storage solution to do advanced analytics, right? So the opportunities are endless, right? In terms of regulatory and compliance, it's about how the immutable logs are so that now when it comes to secure government and access, you can go back and point in and say, hey, these are the people who access this, these are the ones who did not tamper it. So, there are so many different nuances when it comes to meeting those requirements, and this is what the opportunities that AUCloud and Cloudian are working to address together. So talking about we talked about these services and the use case. I also want to make sure that we talked about the ability for Cloudian to be that infrastructure play when it comes to storage, with all the feature sets of required when it comes to QoS multi-tenancy. But the idea when you're looking to expand on those services is not only to have robust ecosystem of applications that support S3, but also proven solutions like I've listed out a few out here, in different verticals, right? We offer integration with all the backup apps. There is big data repositories from Hadoop, Splunk, and also integration with the primary storage when it comes to snapshots or tiering data from NAS, from NetApp or Pure, or even building some enterprise file sync and share with the Dropbox kind of functionality, video surveillance, healthcare, you name it, right? That ecosystem is what brings and allows you to build services for every different business type, and that's what it requires to have a platform that can support that. A platform and a team within Cloudian that validates those solutions, that creates those solutions that our customers and our service providers can now use to further enhance and create services on top of it. All right, so in all, I want to just summarize quickly, and then jump into the Q&A, right? This is a great story where we now have a perfect business opportunity. That is what AUCloud and Cloudian are working towards. This is a solution that is proven, delivers on TCO, and actually delivers on price points that allow our customers to leverage AUCloud and their resources to get better TCO, and it is proven. It's widely deployed within enterprises. It's widely deployed within service providers. So this is a win-win, and really excited to continue working with you and your team, Peter. Let's continue doing this, and maybe in a few months we can come back with newer things that we have to talk about, right? So super excited. And again, thank you very much for being there today. Really excited. So we'll take questions. Peter, do you have anything else to summarize or end with?
No, Sanjay, that's about it, mate. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's a very exciting opportunity. It's very exciting times to be working with Cloudian as well. So we're very excited here working with this partnership with Cloudian here at AUCloud.
So I would just like to thank Peter and Sanjay for their time today, and to our audience for joining us.